We're gonna finish up Riven. Play through Riven as much as we can. I don't know how many chapters we have left, so but we'll just keep on going until we're going. After Riven, we'll probably go on to Mist 3 Exile. I believe Mist 3 is was created in 2001. I should look that up, but that's almost a 20-year-old, like what, more than a 25-year-old game. I don't know. We'll take a look. I could be wrong, so let's give it a second. Let me look it up. Mist 3 Exile. There it is. Yeah, 2001. Holy mackerel. That's a really long time ago. So 24 years. Yeah. So that's some retro gaming right there. But we'll keep on going with the Riven, the 2024 edition. I'm really enjoying it. The last time we were here was on Sunday, and we just finished the Rebel puzzle in order to reach this age. And according to the save game, it's called Tav. Apparently the rebels were able to create their own age. Good for them. and so we'll continue on to explore it. Let's turn down the music. But hopefully it'll be fun. More puzzles, you know. Is it Tay? Tay. I think it's Tay. Hold on, let's take a look. It's Tay. Tay. Okay. What do we got? Oh. So. Wow, this whole thing is covered in daggers. Maybe this is where they got their mineral to make those daggers from.
Follow. Your whole life.
Oh.
kali ini.
Hmm. Tay. World of Tay. Well, that's where we came from. Is this my cage? Okay.
Katerina e now da saya yapalo. Yapa ay manay yalepo. Miltisay. Bekaretere wirape yelo kene falapo. Tisay. Why te falupe? Now Katerina ne. Wisi fapolo ya sepe yai.
Yes, she's speaking Rivenese. We got a couple new books. Oh. They're letting us out. But I want to read the book. Oh, so that giant thing on one of the islands is actually kind of a weapon of some kind? Or a staff? How interesting. Right, I'm gonna stand here and read a book. Maybe they'll let me read this book. I write quickly from my prison. Along with this journal, I have instructed Nela to return the book that the Moete intercepted upon your arrival. After questioning her, I have concluded that it was written by Atris for a very specific purpose. Gen will wish to use it, though he will undoubtedly be suspicious. Once he is out of the way, you will still need the combination to release me. I am told he keeps it somewhere in his outpost on 233. Then I assume we are to signal Atris. I think I know how it might be done, but don't attempt it before I'm released. Catherine. Okay. Ooh, more books. It's been 1 week since I linked to Riven, and I am still reeling from the changes I have witnessed. Even before my eyes could something adjust. Oh, okay, she crossed it out. Even before my eyes could adjust, the smell of my homeland embraced me. The sweet salt air was instantly familiar, but the scene that soon but the scene soon resolved was not. I stood there, struggling to make sense of what I was seeing. A violent clang surrounded and bars appeared before me. It was then that I must have been darted. for my memory after is cloudy. A Rivenese man, shabbily dressed in militaristic attire, was shouting something at me, and he seemed to be attempting to speak Denis, but his grasp of the language was so poor that I could not make out his words. And then the world went dark. Many voices passed until at last I awoke to a familiar face. Etil, after all. Is that Etty? After all this time, she's still as warm and kind as ever, and yet the years have clearly wounded her, as they've wounded everyone whose world became a prison when Gen was trapped here. Everything is tinged with pain and loss, even Etty's bright smile, though she does her best to hide it. A desperate urgency squelched by the unuttered fears sees beneath her cordial. God, cursive is killing me. Cordial veneer. When Atris and I left Gen here all those years ago, I was haunted by the visions of what had become of my people, and how they might have been come to suffer under his rule. But the injustices I imagine were nothing compared to the atrocities that have actually come to pass. The following is a chronicle of what I have learned, a record of all that has happened. Should I no longer be here to tell. The Moete. It seems that the confrontation that led to Ged's entrapment on Riven was witnessed by some of the Rivenese, but their interpretation of the context was skewed, no doubt due to Gen's overinflated view of himself. Atris and I hope that stripping him of his ability to link to other worlds might lead people to conclude that his claims of godhood were false, but it appears the opposite has come to pass. If Gen was God and we were vanished, if Gen was a god and we had vanquished him, then we must be greater gods. It was thus assumed that my absence was only temporary, and that I would surely return to one day to set this world right again. Thus the Moete, the name they adopted after Gen's disparaging use of the term, were born sworn enemies of Gen and devoted of me. I had no inkling of this misconception about myself until 2 days ago, until the hindsight of it though in hindsight of it makes perfect sense. Given the way I've been treated for their past, they have naturally assumed that an omniscient deity might as well be one of their own divine status, so there was no need to inform me. I only finally pieced it together during a recent underground gathering where they reenacted their version of the story of my life, a riveting tale that culminated with a confrontation between Atris, myself, and Gen at the edge of the fissure. The events had been exaggerated to such grandiose proportions that I found that I had at times to suppress my laughter, and yet this myth also had given them the courage to stand against Gen, and the hope that they might someday deliver from the relentless inhumanities of his authoritarian rule. Even so, the fact that I am the one who has been cast as their savior, an omnipotent being who would one day return to Riven, overthrow Gen, and lead them to a new paradise. It is deeply unsettling. I would do anything to free my people from this hellish existence, but I do not think that I am... How, though, can I distinguish them from this notion also, without also crushing their hopes? As Gen's power grows, so did the Modoete. In order to invade his persecution, for he would wipe them all out in an instant if he could, they had to become more and more adept at concealing themselves. They make use of a network of caves that so far he has failed to discover, but I fear it is only a matter of time before they are found out. Secret passage in the rebel linking room. Ah, here it is. 3 Bolu must be lit. Interesting. We should take a picture of that. So, if you don't know what I'm doing right now, is that my screenshots in Steam is broken somehow. I'm not sure why or how to fix it. I've tried twice to try to fix it, but every time I try to access my Steam folder, it kind of goes wonky. So I have resulted into taking my cell phone to taking pictures as notes. Anyways, continuing on with reading this infuriating cursive. Anyways, oh Catherine, I wish you written print instead of cursive. Let's see. Further jeopardizing their existence, it is a fact that the Moaite absolutely refuse to sever their ties with those who have sided with Gen. The two factions thus live together in surprising harmony. They're their overarching sense of cultural unity appearing to outweigh the schism, at least for now. I heard today that Father and Nant were inducted into Gen's labor force. I so long to see them, but a dimness shrouded Etty's face so abruptly when I asked of them that it left me hesitant to press the matter further. I must know the truth eventually, but I fear the news will not be good. From the moment of their inception, the Moaite have sought to disrupt Gen's plans at every turn, sabotaging his construction, stealing from his precious stockpiles, and keeping an ever watchful eye on his every move. They shroud themselves in dark coverings and delight in the fact that their enemies are often frightened by their their wraith-like appearance and their most preternatural ability to wreak havoc without detection or consequence. I was in the It was in the course of one of these forays that I was fortuitously rescued when I first linked to Riven. I shuddered to think that what might have become of me that had that scout not been there to intervene. Gen will certainly be hunting for me now, no doubt. Furious at his guard's failure to detain me, he must be even angrier, though, at the loss of the linking book he surely assumes I brought with me, that I was deceived into linking into Riven without a way back. It is a bitter yet fortunate fact, for it may have meant the death of us if I had a path back to Ni fallen into his destructive hands. then when we finally discover that I came empty-handed here, he would be angrier still. That is some consolation at least. So there's drawings. I don't know if these drawings mean anything. So let's see. I have glimpsed the final breath of a dying age. A tiny blade cuts the void, the white hole divide again and again, dipped in black. The nib dips red, the art of genocide. Today I ventured above the ground to see for myself what has become of the island. I hope it wouldn't be as bad as the Moete had reported. It was worse. Having lived with it for so long, the Rivenese have become inured to the steady decay around them, but I was devastated. As we wound around through the underbrush, I found myself once again breathing in my youth. The ocean air, transporting me back in a matter of seconds. But as my eyes took behold, the warmth of those memories vanished, and I was left with nothing but numbness. We had reached a bluff, but a bluff that had been there the last time I visited my home. Riven, which was once one island, has split into 5 distinct pieces that have since drifted apart in an astonishing rate. 4 of these have been claimed by Gen and his exclusive domain. Only those who have sworn their loyalty to him are ever allowed to access them. From the vantage point at the edge of the trees, I could see 3 of them. Now blighted with Gen's monomechanical constructions, these islands are closely guarded and pose great personal risk to the Moete. Though that hasn't kept them from doing whatever they can to thwart Gen's endeavors there. Okay. Let's see. The 4th island I could not see, as it has crept away to some distance and now lies concealed by a fog. The Moete said that Gen originally governed from this small island, living and working in a protected space he built for himself atop the stump that remains there, the great tree that used to stand. The only surviving forest is located here on the largest island, where the village also remains. This island was astoundingly intended to be the province of the people, but it too has been irrevocably marred by Gen's oppressive intrusions. There's a little poem. Words fall, brittle brown leaves, masquerading as green, should never held, leaves both bloomed and as yet are unseeded. I feel nothing today, she said. I am an outcast among outcasts. The diaspora of the dying world, people of my repleted protestations, The Moete continue to treat me differently, their desperate need precluding any dissuasion from the belief from the belief that I am some sort of messiah come to save them. They misconstrued my every move as validation for their faith, whispering of how I walked the island, bold and unafraid, mistaking my outrage at the island's devastation for bravery. But I am afraid, for I know something that the Moete do not. The underlying reason for the island's accelerated decay. Gen wrote this world into, and so it will fail, as all of Gen's ages ultimately fail. I must make the Moete understand this, but I cannot talk to Eti. There were brief moments soon after my arrival, and when my divine status was forgotten and I was simply Catherine again, but they are almost non-existent now. Okay. There is one person, however, who seems to immune to all these fallacious notions. Nella. Her gaze has never faltered when I've dared hint at the uncomfortable truth. I feel I could trust her to bear the full brunt of it. Gen is making books. How did I not know this until now? Atreus and I knew that he would likely attempt it. He has adopted a paranoid practice of writing all the necessary materials into his ages. He has been exploiting the natural resources and the people of Riven as fodder for his mad pursuit to future his colonist ideals. Thankfully, it sounds as if he has not yet succeeded. As painful as it has been, the fact that I have returned to Riven at this crucial juncture is fortuitous. The age is crumbling, my people are suffering, and if Gen succeeds in securing his freedom, the worlds will suffer the same. The Moeti are looking to me. I may only be mortal, but I have to do something. What is this? It's the steam contraption on Temple Island. Interesting. Okay. And it has been a long time since my last entry. There is so much to tell. It was hard to recognize, but I found this star fissure. It was located on what Gen refers to as his Temple Island, though the Moeti prefer to use the Rivenese word Alapo, which means water pool. They've thus taken to referring to the void itself as Alatuvan, pool of stars. It is the very fissure that allowed Atreus and me to escape this age without leaving a linking book behind us, though it has since been sealed with the skin of heavy iron. Several derelict devices from that time remain mounted to its surface, including a hatch with a window viewpoint, a large telescope, and the mechanical lift that was used to install it. Okay, so that giant thing was and there's the thing. The combination to it was acquired by the Moete a long time ago. So it's written in Rivenese numbering system instead of Denis. Okay. In the early days, the Moete briefly considered reopening the fissure. Thankfully, they decided against it, and had they attempted it back then, the results might as well been catastrophic. Were they to do so today, it would certainly mean the end of Riven. I am told that in the days immediately following Gen's confinement on Riven, he attempted to determine the feasibility of navigating the stars beneath the fissure. For he had seen the mist book fall from Atreus' hands into the very same space. To this end, he sacrificed several poor souls, alleged transgressors of the law, by throwing them into the hatch so he could observe their fate. It is said that they do not die, but what becomes of them remains a mystery. And the original fissure is no longer alone. Wow. New ruptures have appeared in recent years, various locations around the island. In some instances, the Moete were able to glimpse the breaches before Gen and his minions moved in to contain them. Their descriptions support my suspicions that the forces that are tearing Riven apart are more than merely geological. More troubling, however, is that Gen is not simply containing these rifts, but somehow using them to travel between the islands, and that he is also reportedly devised a way to harvest the energies from the expanse for some yet unknown purpose. How like him to wantonly exploit for his own selfish gain that which he does not understand. The star field beneath the fissure is not as it seems. It is a gentle space, as hospitable to life and as a flowing river. That is how Atreus described his brief time within the expanse before he linked out, leaving his mist book adrift within. He was never able to conclude upon its nature, but I cannot help but feel that there must be some greater phenomenon behind it. Something I should have mentioned earlier. One of the collapsed blades that appeared in the course of our escape up from Riven, the great dagger that stands on one end of the fissure, has been adopted by the Moete as an emblem of their struggle. They have their own explanation of how it came to be, of course, but their choice is more apt than they know. Okay. As that dagger, along with the other blades of Manus, are our manifestation of my rage at the desecration that Gen had already wrought upon my world. I haven't told the Moete that I wrote this into the age, as I fear that I would only fuel their overestimation of me, but I can't deny it. It pleases me to have inadvertently provided them with such a fitting symbol for their cause. My limited encounters with Gen's followers have been discouraging. Whenever I attempted to engage them, they fled from me. I heard an interesting tale from the Moete last night, which might help to explain this. Soon after we trapped Gen on Riven, he claimed that it was he who had been responsible for the Great Blades, summoning them as a preemptive, punitive reminder of their obstinance. Of the obedience a reminder of the obedience he expected. I'm the village. In the village circles, it is told that this act marked the beginning of a period of restitution, at the end of which, provided they had proven devotion to him, they would be delivered into a new and better existence. I would continue my attempts to intervene on their behalf. The cage has finally failed. Gen is free. My sources have confirmed that Gen has managed to create a functioning linking book. In fact, he had done so before my arrival, but kept this accomplishment so well hidden that only his closest acolytes were aware of it. I am keeping with his callous regard for the world he creates. He has simply called this age 233. It is not yet known whether he has written others. I have also just learned that years ago the Moete scout managed to steal a book that was an early failure that Gen had intended to destroy. It was largely complete, but did not work. I wasn't told about it until now because they thought it was useless. Gen struggled for decades, but he could never get a conventional linking book to work. Then one day he began construction of a cumbersome mechanical solution, a complex array of devices designed to harness the energies of the starry expanse and use them to suppress his book's inherent flaws. The design phase was chaotic and often dangerous. The Moete tell of tremendous explosions as Gen sought to contain and wield the forces that he knew little to nothing about. But he is nothing if not determined, and eventually he was able to use this enormous crutch to link to another age. I cannot deny his brilliance, but it is abominable solution, brutish and overwrought, and all but unnecessary. I have studied the partially burnt book that the Moete took from him. Although he sought retribution for the affront, for the front appears to have otherwise untroubled by the theft. Although he sought retribution for the affront, he appears to be otherwise untroubled by the theft, no doubt assuming that the book would be useless in the Moete's hands. But I can see that they could not. The book may be unsalvageable. Maybe yet salvageable. Okay, so she's the one that took the book from the boiler, or parts of the books from the boiler. Okay. The age the book describes is wholly unsuitable as a home for the Moete, but I think it can be modified. I will dream. I have nearly finished writing the Moete's age. The world was described as harsher and more desolate than they were used to, but they should be able to sustain themselves there. But we'll need a second book. Gen has been spending most of his time on 233 lately, so the danger is less, but getting into his lab will still be difficult. The coming collapse weights the air, blurring my vision both day and night. We must act soon. Success! We have secured a second book though I worry that Gen will miss it and deduce our plans before we're ready. The descriptive book that I've prepared has a refuge for the rebels. Is useless until I can find a way to correct the inherent flaws. Gen's massive machine mainly functions to manipulate the energies within the expanse. It serves a purpose, but its excess seems unwarranted. The Rivenese have long used crystalline substrates as an elegant means to manipulate light, if I could just find the right material. Last night's dreams have delivered me a perilous plan. I will write this substance into the new Moete age. Wow. Okay, that's pretty brilliant. What is that? That's so weird. Okay, so that's cool. If we could temporarily access Gen's apparatus, we could use our own book to link to this new age and search for the crystal. Someone would then have to carry the book back to safety once the link was made. If it fell into Gen's hands, it would be lost. Then when Gen links to 233, one of his acolytes always remains to shut down the device. We'll have to get him before he can do so, which means we'll only have one chance before they're alerted to our presence. Everything is ready. I've written the material into the age, and I have prepared the second linking book as a return path to Riven. Of course, it too suffers the same deficiencies of all of Gen's books, so it won't work unless it's augmented. Once in the new age, I have to locate the crystal and adapt it to heal the gateway image, which should render the book functional. I can then use the second linking book to return to Riven with more of this material. It is risky, but if it all goes well, the Moete and any of the others can convey to join them, and we'll finally have an escape. Let's go. Go, Catherine. I can't help but laugh at the absurdity of this plan. I sound like Atreus. Should I fail to return, it will likely mean the end of my life. But my own real fear is for my people. Everyone assumes they have complete faith that I will accomplish my task and lead them to a better world. That's the fulfillment of the prophecy, after all. But underneath, they are just as tense and fearful as I am. What will become of them if I do not return? They will perish here on Riven, or attempt to follow me through the new book for an unknown fate. I do not know what to tell them. Against all odds, it is done. We have evacuated most of the members to this new age, which the Moete have named Te. The world is more beautiful than I anticipated, so I am pleased. The Rivenese have been liberated at last. They stand beneath the open sky, unafraid, dazzled by their freedom. They are happy. But there is still much to be done. The age is still vulnerable. The only way to completely protect it from Gen is to destroy the books once everybody is safely in Te. I am hesitant to bring this up with the Moete until they have had a chance to acclimate themselves to the new world. It would mean that they would be forever exiled from the only home they ever known, nor am I eager to sever my own connection and my only path back to my life and my family on Mist. But for the greater good, it must be done. For the moment, we are safe. But our activities could arouse Gen's suspicion at any moment. We cannot delay. I will return to Riven tomorrow to resume my attempts to persuade the remaining holdouts to join the others in Te. For now, I must rest. All right. That's the story of Catherine. Let's take a look at the other book. Okay. that looks like the trap book. We are gonna save here. I'll do that one. Yes. Interesting. Quality service. Elevator service. Okay. Ah, okay, so I guess I can't do anything else in Tay? So we have the trap book. And our primary, so that's our goal, is to recover the trap book and trap Gen. So I guess we're done here. We've got a bit of story. So then I guess we go back to Rivet and start the puzzle of the dome, right? So let's do that. Thursday. Today's tea, by the way, is hibiscus tea. I enjoy hibiscus tea very much. It is not really a tea. It's like a tisane, an herbal tea. So, I remember this painful puzzle. Wasn't painful. I was just not as observant I should have been. Okay. So, what do we know? We have to figure out the dome puzzle. So, I remember we completed... We did all the marbles in the Starry Expanse, so we're done there. Oh, you know, there's probably something back at Gen's shop that we need to take a look at. So we should probably go back that way. No, we can't go this way because we need access to to the traveling thing. Can we get out? We need to go back to Boiler Island. There's some notes there. Remember the notes. I should have taken better note of them. Always take notes. Always. Hopefully won't get trapped. Okie dokie. Now let's see. So. I can't believe I remembered how to get back to the travel sphere. Okay, so we're here in jungle. Jungle is Cat Eye, I believe. Oops. We're back here. in the Star Expanse transportation system. My goal for going back to Boiler is to find any notes having to do with the powering system that Gen has written into accessing his age, number 233, I think it was. Boiler is a straight line. Oh. See. Boiler is on that particular axis, so intuitive aspect of the marbles. A greater strike but like it's one of those things, it's a piece of paper and I have a bag. Why can't I take this with me? Okay. So that works. Adjustment of each symbols. Any other notes? No. So I'm just writing down my notes. Sorry about that. Colors on Survey Island. Oh, the colors. I do remember writing down the colors. So... Okay, let me think about this. I'll give you this to look at for a bit while I puzzle this out on my piece of paper. Okay, so when I was on survey, I was down with the fish, or the big giant one, and let's see. Okay, so I thought it was really interesting that the symbols that also represented the islands also had a representational color, but I didn't realize that there are symbols or numbers also associated with that calibration note that Gen had done. So survey, I know, is a circle with a horizontal line, right? That color was orange or amber. And then prison was a sideways eye with a dot inside the pupil. That was blue. Jungle is always the kind of cat eye, and that was red, I think. Was it red? Hold on, let me take a look. So was it magenta? No, it was red, but it summoned the whale wark. Boiler was the vertical line. That's the island that we are on currently. That's violet. Or purple, whatever. And then temple. I think temple was, yeah, temple is just a single dot in a circle. So that was green. And then if we take a look at our the notes, they had Rivenese numbers next to them. So like boiler had a square with a downward arrow. Downward arrow square is what number is that? Downward number square. I don't have that number. It is a number that I have not seen, except in one of Gen's books. He wrote a Denis number based upon that. If it was just pointing sideways, then it would have been like an 8, but it's not. So we'll just note what it is. So boiler is a square downward arrow. Cat eye, but it has like a symbol through it, like a dash with not on it. I don't know what that means. And then, let's see. And then jungle with the cat eye, it had a square with a semicircle and a line striking through horizontally. That one, I believe, is 7. 7. And that one had a simple dash in front of it. And then survey is sort of the circle with a K. Or not a circle, but a square with a K. That's 3. I know that much. So then that has a simple dash in front of it. square with a K, and that was a 3. And then prison. Prison is a sideways I. It had a strange 2 semicircle square. So like a square, inside the square was 2 half circles. One on the left, one on the bottom. And then it has like a dash with a cross through it. That's interesting. And then temple itself with the dot is just a half as a line inside of a square. And I think that one is 5, number 5. So that's 5. Okay. So we have that for now. There was one puzzle in survey that I wasn't really sure about. But I don't know if I should go back there or not. No, I don't think so. I think we got everything we could from survey, and that's unnecessary. Let's go back to Temple Island. So, back to the transport system. We are on boiler, so we need the straight line. Oops. Did I do wrong? Oh, it's survey. I'm on survey, not boiler. No, wait, this is boiler. I'm wrong symbol. Wait a minute. Why is it not working? There we go. It's confused. Okay. Boiler is straight up and down, survey is horizontal. Got it. I keep on getting those two confused. It's like, wait a minute. Back to temple. We have the trap book. We should not use the trap book ever again. There's temple. There we go. Hello, temple. Back to temple. Oh, good. We used a marble. Hmm. They're not travel devices or travel domes. It's just an airlock. It's an airlock. I tell you. Let's see. Need to push it again. Go through. What's the steam? Okay. Alright, we don't need that. But I do need to be over here so I can get out of this quadrant. I remember that from last time. Go through here. And come up through here and then go to the dome on the other side. Okay, so this is the gate. No, this is the thing where we're at. Okay, we have to go to the other side. Yeah. Stuff that dreams are made of. Alright. Let's take a look at what we've got here. So this is Gen's world. Is this a button? Yes, it is a button. Wow. Looks like I got the Starry Expanse puzzle correctly. Meaning, I energized all the marbles correctly. Oh, I knew there was a secret chamber up here. It looked like it was. Should I explore first? I'm curious. See. Red. Wow. Okay, so this looks very similar to the graph that was in Gen's laboratory where you had to get the right kind of frequency when you struck the marble in its raw state. So I remember this grid from Survey Island. I believe each of these could represent, each color represents an island. So green is temple, blue is prison, jungle is red, orange is survey, purple is boiler. Okay. So I have each of the numbers that are associated with with it. I have 3 of the numbers, but not 2. But I can suss out their numbers based upon what they were previously. See, I'm looking at my notes. So I surmise that the down circle was 10. So this is a derivative after 10. For that particular puzzle. And then what is that one? Well, if I know the other 3 numbers, I can kind of brute force the other 2 numbers. So, but let's do the placement of these marbles. A map of... If these represent islands, what's a map of Riven? Do I have a map of Riven? Physical map of Riven. Okay, there's a mem. Okay, yeah, I do. Temple. Boiler. Where was Boiler in with respects to everything? Boiler is it was up in the corner. If oh wait, yeah. I can look outside. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Okay. So I'm going to assume that this is south. The way that behind us is south. And that's north. So that's Boiler? Yeah. That's Boiler. What is that? That's Survey or Jungle? I think it could be Jungle. I know that's Boiler. So this must be over there. That must be Jungle. No, that must be Survey. Survey had the little spikes as you were walking through. So that's Survey. Then Prison... Prison might be behind us? Oh god, I can't see. God damn it. Hmm. I think Prison is behind us because I remember looking at it from behind us. So let's assume we're here. Prison is behind us. And no, wait. So we have to be here because we see Survey up in the corner. Survey is orange. So orange. Well, we know that Boiler is in front of us, right? So we're here, we're looking at Boiler. prison. It has to be behind us because I remember seeing it when I was talking with Catherine. Or Temple. Sorry. That means if... So, what's the front of it? That's survey. Jungle? Wait, is that jungle? Or is it survey? Hold on. I have a zoom button. There it is. Oh, that looks like survey. Oh, shoot. Okay. Survey is orange. So it's over there. And over here? No. Okay. So let's make an assumption that... Ooh, my gosh. Something happening outside, but don't worry about it. I don't think you can hear it. So let's make an assumption. Both boiler, violet, and blue are outside of the known numbers that we have. So I'm going to push those all the way over here. And we'll brute force those two numbers. Temple is green, and it said it was like a 5? But that can't be a straight value. And you can't go above it. So, like, if each of these were 5, 10, 15, 20, that's insane. I don't... Wow. So I know that green is 5, but... But... Oh, you know, downstairs? Oh, let me go back. I just remembered looking through... I'm gonna go down and leave this for a bit. Oh, I didn't mean to. Can I go down? No, I can't. Hmm. see. I think I need to go back to Gen's lab. There's something I'm missing with those symbols. So I'm going to put these back. And actually walk back to Gen's thing. It'll also give me time to figure out where each of the islands is in respect to each other. Save here for Boiler Island. I can go there and solve the puzzle there. I don't know why I can't get out. Am I stuck here? Curious. What happens if I randomly do this? Can I leave? I cannot leave. Wow, once I'm in this puzzle, I have to solve it from here. I cannot go back. Oh, no, wait, thank God. I was freaking me out. I'm glad I'm wrong. Oh my God, am I glad I'm wrong. Alright. Alright. Thank God. So... Okay, so, temple. So this is pointing towards that. So this, is prison. Oh, okay, so... I guess these are kind of directional points. So if I'm here... Prison is behind us. I'm gonna assume that. I'm not. And then this is boiler, which is over there. Over there. 5 cardinal points. All right. And the survey. This must be jungle. jungle. Yeah, there it is, jungle over there. Bridge. It's over there on the other side. Alright. Okay, so this is bridge over here. Looks like I need to go back to Gen's workshop. Oops. To do this. So if I do it twice, it should reach the side. Okay. So here we go. Take. Need to push it over here. Go. So I am located in Temple. I need to go back to Boiler. So my thought is that if I go back to Boiler and use the numbers that I currently recorded on that thing and use the apparatus and adjust the apparatus on the using the numbers, maybe that'll give me a clue as to how to organize the marbles in their respective colors on the linking apparatus in Temple. Temple, Boiler, straight line up and down. Maybe those are symbols for... They're operators, so pluses and minuses? I don't know. So... we assume that green is first out of all the colors. So, at least that's what I remember. So let's try green first. Temple, it's 5. There's a minus in front of the 5. So let's try temple. It's a 5, right? So we can do a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh wait, if this is the primary frequency, okay, that's the primary frequency. So what is that? Let's assume that this is 0. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So the primary frequency is 9. If we add plus 5, what happens? If we assume that symbol in front of each of the Janine numbers is an operator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That did not work. Did I do this incorrectly? Doesn't do anything. Well, maybe it doesn't do anything here? I don't know. One of the papers and gets that. Okay, yeah, I have to look this one up, unfortunately. I'm so sad. Okay. Let's try that. So, luckily we saved and we have to go through the whole trip. And I know the locations of the islands now, so that's pretty good. I just have to figure out the right orientation. Assume that prison, temple, survey, jungle. Okay, so five, 2, 4. So minus 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, plus 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be 14. 7 is minus, so red, so we'll go to survey. Minus 3 from 9. So 9 minus 3 is equal to 6. 9 minus 7 . That would be 2. Okay. 2. So here are the other 2. It can be anywhere from these digits up to here. This is 10 right here. It looks like a 10 plus some more. We'll do that. And then, so plus. It's a plus in front of that symbol. So if it's a plus in front of that symbol, and obviously this is taken and this is 5, 10, 15. So it could be anywhere from 15. It has to be greater than 19 because I know what 10 looks like. So 5, 10, 15, 20. 20 plus 9. So it has to be somewhere between here and here. These two numbers. So we could brute force this. Because I'm not familiar with the numbers. So the range that blue can be is anywhere from 20 to, or 19 rather. 19, damn it. 19 through 1, 2, 3, 4. So 20, 21, 22, 24. That's the range. Violet can only be 20 through 25 is the range. Can we make any assumptions about the number? So Boiler looks like to be a Denis number derivative of 8, because 8 is something pointing backwards. And since we know that and it has to be shut. Oh. So I guess it's a base 9 system. It's gonna load. According to Catherine, this is age 233. There he goes.
I apologize for the cage. I'm afraid this situation has often required of me a more primitive code of conduct than I might otherwise have chosen. I am Gan. I assume you've heard of me. Yes. Well, I suspect you have acquired some false information of who I am now. Not that my son would have lied to you about me. No, not Atris. It's just that, well, I'm sure he believes me to still be the depraved father I once was. Yes. I even tried to kill him once. God, if I had accomplished that, who knows what I would have become. Great father indeed, who tries to murder his own son. Thankfully, he trapped me on age 5, a prison of my own creation. No books, no precious inks, no ages to link to, nothing but my own foolish ambitions. That was 30 years ago. 30 years, 30 lifetimes, what does it matter? No sentence could be too harsh for the man I was. But I have changed. Be sure the deeds of my past can never be completely atoned for, but my mission was an honorable one. I'm sorry, this is all a bit awkward. It's been a long time since I've attempted to persuade anyone of my intentions. Most of the people here have already made their minds up about me one way or another. I myself do not trust the words of most men, so I don't expect you to believe me. In the end, though, you may discover that I do have more than mere words to offer. Atris's choice of punishment has been hard on the people of Riven. Many have suffered because of it. The island has been steadily decaying for years. But according to my most recent measurements, it appears that the 5th age has entered its final days. Unless the villagers can be relocated soon, the island will collapse entirely and everyone will perish. It has taken me a long time to do it, but it appears that finally I'll be able to make some substantial amends to my past transgressions, especially in, well, I'm afraid I've had some trouble with Catherine and the moiety. In any society, there will always be a small percentage of the population with rebellious tendencies. Before Catherine appeared, the moiety, as they call themselves, had been relatively harmless. I mean, the natives here are a fairly violent people by nature, but I'd almost come to accept their presence. Upon Catherine's return, however, their violence intensified considerably. It seems she's become some sort of religious savior to them. As far as I can tell, she's come to believe this herself. So I've had no alternative. I had to separate her from her people. The actions of Catherine and the moiety have put my own life at risk on numerous occasions. Consequently, the lives of all the people here. Therefore, I must ask you to refrain from any attempt to free her. Although I'm sure Atris desires it. Indeed, he must desire it with all his heart. But he is completely unaware of her recent state. Which brings me to the point of all of this. The linking book you brought with you. You're very fortunate to have recovered it. If I may. Thank you.
Take the trap? Probably not. He's too smart for that.
Perhaps it would be best if you went through first. You may need some time to decide. That is reasonable. Please understand, there is nothing I want more than a chance to resolve matters between Atris and myself, especially in light of what has become of Catherine. But unless you are willing to demonstrate to me that your intentions are honorable, I cannot risk it. The sanctuary I've been writing for the islanders is nearly complete. After all these years, it would be a shame if I were unable to finish it. The work I am doing is quite demanding. Please don't signal me unless you've decided to use the book.
No, is that back to Riven? Yeah, it's back to Riven. So I hesitated. So I guess, can I load? I'm kind of curious. What happens if I just go into the book? Well, I'll let you sit through this dialogue again, and then I'll get a cup of tea.
I apologize for the cage. I'm afraid this situation has often required of me a more primitive code of conduct than I might otherwise have chosen. I am Gan. I assume you've heard of me. Yes. Well, I suspect you have acquired some false information of who I am now. Not that my son would have lied to you about me. No, not Atris. It's just that, well, I'm sure he believes me to still be the depraved father I once was. Yes. I even tried to kill him once. God, if I had accomplished that, who knows what I would have become. Great father indeed, who tries to murder his own son. Thankfully, he trapped me on age 5, a prison of my own creation. No books, no precious inks, no ages to link to, nothing but my own foolish ambitions. That was 30 years ago. 30 years, 30 lifetimes, what does it matter? No sentence could be too harsh for the man I was. But I have changed. Be sure the deeds of my past can never be completely atoned for, but my mission was an honorable one. I'm sorry, this is all a bit awkward. It's been a long time since I've attempted to persuade anyone of my intentions. Most of the people here have already made their minds up about me one way or another. I myself do not trust the words of most men, so I don't expect you to believe me. In the end, though, you may discover that I do have more than mere words to offer. Atris's choice of punishment has been hard on the people of Riven. Many have suffered because of it. The island has been steadily decaying for years, but according to my most recent measurements, it appears that the 5th age has entered its final days. Unless the villagers can be relocated soon, the island will collapse entirely and everyone will perish. It has taken me a long time to do it, but
I'm back. I have tea.
finally I'll be able
So
to make
the minute
some
he pops up his book, I'm
substantial
going to
amends to my
click
past
on it.
transgressions, especially in, well, I'm afraid I've had some trouble with Catherine and the moiety. In any society, there will always be a small percentage of the population with rebellious tendencies. Before Catherine appeared, the moiety, as they call themselves, had been relatively harmless. I mean, the natives here are a fairly violent people by nature, but I'd almost come to accept their presence. Upon Catherine's return, however, their violence intensified considerably. It seems she's become some sort of religious savior to them. As far as I can tell, she's come to believe this herself. So I've had no alternative. I had to separate her from her people. The actions of Catherine and the moiety have put my own life at risk on numerous occasions. Consequently, the lives of all the people here. Therefore, I must ask you to refrain from any attempt to free her. Although I'm sure Atris desires it.
Yep, he does.
Indeed, he must desire it with all his heart. But he is completely unaware of her recent state. Which brings me to the point of all of this. The linking book you brought with you. You're very fortunate to have recovered it. If I may.
Okay.
Thank you.
Click through the book. Let me click through the book and trap you there. Visitation thing.
Perhaps it would be best if you went through first.
Hello? I'm in! Took the bait. So, we're back here in this world. It's like a book or a library.
Natsu? Shiva? Shorate. Mata neta. Tagamem. San botegan shem. Fasi.
The book! Great. I start this latest journal with astounding news. Catherine has returned to the Fifth Age, and though it sets my teeth on edge to say it, she also vanished as quickly as she appeared. Stolen from me by the rebels, as my guard tells it, she linked into the Fisher Plateau cage, just as I'd surmised, when suddenly he was set upon a band of rebels who darted him and spirited her away. I suspect the truth of the matter was that he was so dumbfounded at actually witnessing someone link in after all this time that he presented an easy target for whichever rebel happened to be nearby. The damnable luck of it. He did get a good enough look at her, though, to verify it was indeed Catherine. He also claims that he inspected all of her belongings and found no linking book on her person. In fact, I find it hard to believe it true. But if true, it makes the question as to why she returned here all the more puzzling. While I am sick with frustration at having lost the only quarry that Cage has ever caught, I am also filled with hope, as she may yet provide me with a way back to Nini. It is true that I have managed, despite overwhelming odds, to break free from the confines of the Fifth Age and resume my mission to save my culture from extinction. But I fear that unless I am able to regain access to the vast resources that lie in the city's ruins, the task of resurrecting the greatest civilization will be impossible. If Catherine did bring a linking book with her, then I am halfway there. If not, then she is trapped in the Fifth Age, and I can only assume that my emotionally crippled son will soon be along to rescue her. Either way, it is crucial to my plans that I find her soon. Her presence here now forces me to take the rebels more seriously. I should have never permitted them to survive this long. Once again, the Great Wark has demonstrated its usefulness to me. The villagers have been difficult to manage in the wake of Catherine's arrival, and that their fear of this mythic beast has been all that has kept them in line. I know that had I known how truly useful this prodigious creatures would proven to be, I would have captured more of them. While the local population is still plentiful. Although, to be sure of it, these disturbances my current pets will be no danger of perishing for lack of nourishment. Jesus Christ. The search for Catherine continues. I deeply regret my mistake having ever taught these primitive people anything about the books. It seems that with each passing day, I more sorely realize the extent to which they are not ready for that knowledge, not even in the simplified manner in which I presented it to them. Their minds, adapted only to the exceptionally menial tasks of the village life, were incapable of comprehending the art it is, and in all its complexity, and were thus unable to glean any of the underlying principles that are, ironically, so eloquently simple. It is obvious that so much of the discord that exists between us stems from their failure to grasp the meaning of the information I gave them. If I had given if they'd been able to gain even the smallest glimpse of the glorious nature I had planned for them, this conflict would not exist. The minds of the children, however, are much more malleable. With the proper tutelage, they have developed a more appropriate posture towards the culture and has given them their lives. That has given them their lives. At times they take to it almost as if they had a bit of Denis blood in them, given their natives' inborn limitations. However, I am quite careful that more gain a level of understanding that would permit them to sin against the future that way that Catherine did. How foolish I was to think that she could wield the knowledge responsibly when it was quite clear that my son could not. Atreus, still he remains one of the greatest disappointments in my life. I should have never left him with his mother. By the time I had returned for him, he had already been poisoned to all the thoughts of aiding me in my noble mission. Perhaps that was the only way she could soften the fact that she had been responsible for the collapse for the entire civilization. So much destruction, so many great lives lost, the guilt must have been unbearable. So he blames his wife for the destruction of the Denis civilization. Interesting. She did seem to love my father and our world, but ultimately she was an outsider whose ignorance of the Denis became the catalyst for their demise. If I am able to rebuild our own culture and in the process of correct such weaknesses, then perhaps that she did was ultimately unnecessarily in order that a new and stronger era of prosperity might someday come to pass. I have been increasingly beset by images of the past. These last for weeks. As I stood in the schoolroom today, I was reminded of my own childhood. The years I spent in the Bookmakers Guild, Father's immense pride at my small accomplishments there. He was an important man to the Denis world, but I cannot bear to think of him for long. It is too much. I was too young to see such things. I have her. Last night I retrieved word that Catherine had been apprehended while attempting to persuade some of the villagers to join her. At last I lost a few of my men in the process, but I would have gladly paid 100 times that number for such a prize. She is imprisoned in my old office, where I have been attempting to gain some insight as to the reason of her return. I had to fight the all but constant impulse to put her in the gallows, as she has adopted the most infuriating stance, only answering my questions, when she answers them at all, in her native tongue. Even so, as she is a poor liar, I am now certain that her return to Riven was unintentional, and that she brought no linking book with her. As far as her willingness to share with me the location of the Moete, we shall see. Without their leader, however, they are once again powerless against me. If Catherine's coming here was indeed an accident, Atreus is bound to come for her. That is a given. The question I must now consider is, how will he attempt it? It is likely that his situation is due at least one in part to this dilemma, one way or another, though he'll have to bring a linking book to get back. There is no other way. It's late, and I It's late and I cannot sleep. I've lost so much of my life, my people, my father, my son, and you, my wife, Keta. You were the only time true kindness I've ever known. Watching you flicker there in the imager, I sometimes wonder if you were real. If I could restore your life with my pen, I would do so in an instant and leave the rest of the world to their own wretched fate. Damn these savages. I would be well advised to leave them all in the Fifth Age and begin with a clean sheet of paper. A stranger has arrived. Riven. So this is today, or a couple days ago. Oh, okay. Alright. A stranger arrived in Riven with a linking book to Denis. And once again, my useless minion was overtaken by the rebels. From what little I could decipher of his muddling explanation, it apparently occurred sometime this morning. The cage mechanism has been damaged, but that is no matter. Everything I need is here now. Atreus is certainly behind this, but why would he send someone else in his stead, with a linking book, no less? Surely he would have guessed that I would be waiting for him. Such recklessness is unlike him. Could it be that he's had a change of heart toward me? After all these years, he's finally decided to let this poor old father go? Ha! I know all too well where his loyalties lie. He is the only after one thing. Perhaps the stranger should find her. For now, I need only to wait and observe. I'm beginning to think it was a mistake to allow the stranger to roam freely about the islands in their ignorant provoking. They attempted to power the beacon, the damaged drawbridge from the temple island, and the entire bridge collapse. A trivial loss it is at this point, but it irks me all the same. If I hadn't yet managed to free myself from that crumbling age, it would have hampered my progress severely. But again, no matter. It is no matter now. The day will soon come when I will be done with Riven forever. Disconcerting news. Last night, a group of maintainers happened upon a rebel scout and were able to engage him long enough to learn that the most implausible device, a crystal window, supposedly capable of amending my linking book much the way that my own remarkable system does. But with one slight advantage. It is small and weighs only a few pounds, making it entirely portable. If this outlandish claim is true, then the artifact in question must be something that Catherine fabricated prior to her capture. No doubt from an explicit Denis schematic, she brought it with her. If only had I had access to such a document all these years. Yep. She's a clever girl. The portent of this revelation is deeply troubling. Some years ago, the rebels managed to abscond with a dysfunctional linking book I had intended to destroy. The book was never recovered, but once they had sufficiently atoned for this sacrilege, I graciously decided to let the matter slide, thinking that in their inept hands it could do no harm. But if Catherine is indeed empowered with such a device, the rebels may have well linked to another world. That also means that this world, 233, could be wrong, is no longer safe. This cannot stand. The stranger is the key to all of this. Tracking their movements has given me a good idea where this linking book and the crystal may be hidden, but I can deal with that. But I can deal with that. But before I can deal with that, I must secure the linking book back to Denis. Everything hinges upon that. If I can gain access to my arsenal of resources there, I will rapidly give the whole Riven its own. I will happily leave the whole of Riven to its own dismal future. Oh, there we go. Imager codes. Keta, Father, Anna. Okay. Interesting. So we have the imager codes. Oh, that imager. Hmm. It's a 2 and a 3, so. Oop.
Now, my turn. You want to record something so always you will remember. What is English for scramape? Scum from above. Your appearance should have inspired us to a better future. What does it mean for us as a people if we cannot embrace worlds outside our own? You were an angel from above. Always you will be my angel from above.
Two, 3, 5.
your angel. An angel of death. The Denis Council knew it. They knew. If I hadn't tried to force my own ideals on your world, you would still be alive. You would still be alive. I wanted a life full of magic, full of books that bridged worlds, that lit up the darkness like stars. The possibilities were endless. It's just us now. You'll never have the life you should have had. Somehow my love and compassion, it took that. I don't know how. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Again.
Oh, hey, that was an achievement. This thing. Interesting. I feel like I should remember that. Okay. So that's 4 dings and a crook. Alright. That's interesting. Shirt. Looks like an instrument. Oh! It's her cage. That's where I remember it. Wow. Alright. So I have to remember that. 4 dings and a gurt. Looks like a fish cooking. And interesting. Kind of like a burnt book. Okay. Yummy. Oh, it's probably one of those things. It's cooking on the solar baker. Let's see. Turn, let's see. What does this do? It's like a boiler? Ah, okay. I can go back. Interesting. So we need to go rescue Catherine. To go back to Prison Island. Oh. Well, that would make sense he would come here. I guess. Which door? I think this door? No. The other door. This way. I think. Oh, my memory. Yeah, it is this way because I see the pipe for the marbles. This is boiler. So boiler is memories. Boiler is a vertical line. Keep on missing it. There we go. Huh. Prison. Who am I to believe? I've only met Atris for like a whopping, what? A couple of minutes. And I hardly know Catherine at all. And she was in a cage. Oops. Hard to believe. Temple. Okay, I'm Boiler. I need to go to prison. Where is prison? Just have to spin until I see it. There's prison. I think that's prison. I should double check. Because I'm kind of a little bit blind, but whatever. No, that's not prison. That's jungle. Glad I checked. There's prison. Hmm. Interesting stuff. So Hmm. I think it's this one. There we go. All right. Why didn't they take a hacksaw to her bars over there?
We have to move quickly. Gen's people may already know what's happening. Once we're back with the moiety, we'll have time to regroup. Can I see the book? You did it. You captured Gen. We're all free. But there's still his followers. I'm not sure what they'll do once they realize he's gone. I have to get the villagers to safety as soon as possible. And you go back to where you first arrived and reopen the fissure. I
Ow.
know it's risky, but it's the only way to signal Atris. I'll try to make it back there as soon as possible, but don't wait for me. Oh, and don't forget the combination in my journal. You'll need it.
That's crazy. Yeah, hacksaw this shit, but whatever. I need to go back to temple. Oh, whoops. I can't do that until I snapshot it from back over there. Interesting. Opening the fissure. Wow. Prison. So I'm going to destroy this age. That's crazy. Temple. Temple, temple, temple. Take a while to look at the numbers. Oops. So, let's take a look at these numbers. Can we assume that it's all reset? And that, so we know that this is 1. Okay, I'm writing down all my numbers. Okay. So, what do we know? We know 1 and 2. And we know up to 10. So, we discovered 10 on some other escapade. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4, 5, 'This is like the most shittiest pen I have ever had. I gotta get a new pen. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. So we have 10. Oh, so that's 5. This is 6. You know what? I just realized this, but 6 looks like a 1 and a 5 together. Isn't that crazy? This is 7. How is this 7? 2 plus 5? Yes, 2 plus 5. Okay. This is 8. 3 plus 5. Okay. 9 is 5 plus 4. 10. How is this 10? All I know it is 10 because someone told me somewhere. Okay, that's 10. So 11 should be 10 plus 1. No. It just goes to 10. Okay. Alright. So now we need to take a look at Catherine's book. Damn it. Controls! Okay. So, what do we know about these numbers? It's positional based. So the first one, it can't go above 10, so we're fine. So the first one I know is a 7. The second one is a 5. The third number is a 4. This number here, the fourth place number, is a 1. This is a 5 again. This is a 4 again. That one here is a 3. And then this one is 7, 7. And then the bottom number is a 2. So we're looking at 75415433772. Okay. It's a long shot. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Leave this one at 1. This one's a 5. And then the next one is a 4. This one is a 3. This one is a 7. 6, 7. This one is also a 7. And then this one is a 2. Yes, I'm pushing it. I'm pushing it? No. Thought I had it. Okay. All right. Cinematic. World eating. Hey. How's it going?
There isn't much time. Where's Catherine? Where's the book? I don't understand.
Atris! The villagers are safely in the Rebel Age. I thank you.
As do I. You've accomplished more than I could have hoped for. You've given me back my life. The path home is now clear for all of us. This is where our paths must part. Perhaps we'll meet again someday. You know where to find me. Goodbye, my friend.
Back in the fissure.
Now I understand. Endings and beginnings are within the fissure. That riven cleft of stars that acts as both a wall and a bridge. And though I'm unable to understand how, the very flow of stars that brought my mist book into worthy hands, I am sure served as a safe passage home for my friend. The Age of Riven has come to a close, but the people of Riven are free. And now I am at rest, understanding that in books and ages and life, the ending can never truly be written.
Well, that was cool. I mean, all the puzzles made sense physically. So, like, if you're trying to do something, they have to. Everything has a consequence and everything has a beginning and everything has an end. Everything has a consequence. And it has to do something. There's nothing that can't be arbitrary or inconsequential when things happen when solving a puzzle, right? So, wow. That was really cool. I'm very happy the way it ended. As far as I can remember, there's like a new Myst documentary that's coming out or something like that. So I'm eager to try that out. Yeah, there's a Myst documentary that was kickstarted last year, and I think, yeah, cool. Yeah, cool. Yeah, there is a particular documentary that's coming out, and maybe when that comes out soon, we'll watch it. What to do after this game? So, wow, 1997 game. That's a really long time ago. This game was... Let's see, this game was put out 28 years ago, as of today. That's pretty incredible. Next up, I'm going to play Myst 3 Exile. I don't know if I should start now, because that'll be like only an hour's worth of play. So I think I'll save it for the top of my stream tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then from there we'll play until whenever. Then we'll probably work through the whole Myst series up until like Myst 5, End of Ages, I think it's called. Let me take a look. I should look this up before I talk about them. Myst series. At some point, I kind of want to go back and get all the achievements that are possible. So that requires looking it up, how to get them. Like, I think one of them was like stare at the marble polisher for like 15 minutes, and you get some kind of achievement through that. Okay, what do we have? We have Myst, Riven. Next is Myst 3, Age of Exiles. Or not Age of Exiles, but Exile. Which was developed by Presto Studios, published by Ubisoft in 2001. Wow, alright. And then beyond that, it's Uru Ages Beyond Myst, which is a departure from the previous games and featuring, I don't know, some interesting things. They have I guess they had like expansion packs for Uru? That's interesting. In 2011, Cyan Worlds Open and OpenUru.org announced the release of Myst's online client 3D Max plugin. Interesting. So, and then Myst 4, which is Revelation, produced entirely by Ubisoft. And then finally in 2005, which was Myst 5, End of Ages, the final game in this series. Right. Okay, cool. So we'll hello. Yeah, I'm just about to end my stream, so I'm done for the day because I just finished Riven. And then I'll probably continue on playing Myst 3 tomorrow. So I'll talk to everybody later, and hopefully someone will stop on by and say hello. I like history and about this game. So if you have any cool insights about when and where the developers made the game, I really do appreciate it. But anyways, I hope you have a good day, good evening, wherever you are. I hope hope it all is well with you. So see y'all later, and farewell.